in love slowly. And there's a couple reasons why I'm thinking of this, so let's just kind of break it down. We currently just live in a society where we're infatuated easily, and we are obsessed with instant gratification and, having our little overnight soulmates. You know what I'm talking about? You freaking leaks out there. And I want the purpose of the video and the intention of this video is to understand that falling in love slowly doesn't mean that it's boring. It just means that it's intentional, right? That you're actually building something that can last, right? And it makes me think of a quote where it's like, infatuation, I think it is, infatuation is like a light you can flicker on and off, whereas true love, deep relationships is like a fire that can burn and endures, right? So, like I said, by the end of this, I just hope that you guys understand that love doesn't fade, that you should build a love that doesn't fade when the spark does, right? Like I was saying, we have this confusion in our society where we rush to infatuation, right? We meet someone new and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the person I've been looking for my entire life, right? When we confuse this excitement with connection. And that's obviously a big problem, and we'll really dive into that at a different date, but follow with me, right? This thing that everybody has called dopamine kicks in, and suddenly we think that we found the one, even though we hardly know this person, right? We haven't even done the deep work to understand truly who they are and what they've gone through. We jump straight into deep emotions, and we ignore these red flags, right? Because we're so caught up in the high of the moment, right? We start to crash after the high, right? Once the high starts to die, we find ourselves in this place where what felt like passion at first just burnt out as quickly as it started. And furthermore, the relationship is built on a foundation of intensity, right? It's not built on a foundation that's substantial or any sort of substance. And anything that's not built with a good foundation can crumble easily, right? And that's why it makes me think of a few different things, like understanding the beauty of falling in love slowly, right? You start to build a strong foundation with whomever this person is, right? You take your time to understand them, and which allows you just to truly know this person, right? You go beyond the surface level attraction. You really start to stimulate each other's mind, if you will, right? And you're not just falling for who they are in that moment, but who they consistently show you they are over time. And it provides you with a lot of emotional clarity, right? Because slowing down gives you the space to process what you're feeling without pressure. It allows you to define everything, but not have to do it immediately, right? You don't feel this pressure to have an instant answer like, okay, I love this person. Like, you give yourself the space that you need. And you can differentiate between a genuine connection and something that's just an emotional attachment, which I'll include myself, we all have this, right? And it allows you to foster real compatibility. You see how they handle stress and conflict, right? And life's up and downs, which allows you to see if you guys truly align, right? It's not just about chemistry, it's about the character. Who is this person when shit is shitty? Who's this person when everything is going great? The heart may feel quickly, but wisdom listens slowly. The heart may feel quickly, but the mind, wisdom in this case, listens slowly. So what are some benefits, right? What would be the benefits of falling in love slowly besides some of the things I may have mentioned before? Like, why should I do this, Gary? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. Well, it allows you to build this thing called healthy attachment. A lot of us these days have attachment issues, plain and simple. We have emotional dependency on other people, and we're not able to remove ourselves from situations. And this can, and not to be political, but this can be seen politically, right? Where different sides feel so deeply about a situation without being able to remove themselves from the emotions of the other side, right? When it's my way or the highway. And life is not simply black and white. This is not business. In business, things are black and white more often than not. But in something like relationships and partnerships, there is a lot of gray area, right? You can like this person, but, right? You can dislike this person, but. And another benefit of just taking your time, right, is going back to you can like this person, but it allows you to recognize those red flags. You get this red flag awareness, right? Time reveals patterns. So what seems charming at the beginning can reveal itself to be something completely different, maybe just a problem later, right? Unless you've taken the time to see it clearly and spend time through that process and seeing these different ebbs and flows of life, then you're not going to be able to clearly define if this person is who they say they are today, tomorrow as well, right? You also allow yourself to build secure emotional bonds, right? So deep trust isn't built overnight. This doesn't happen all instantly, right? This is a lot of slow exposure, and falling slowly allows for vulnerability. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm trembling my words because this shit's too real. It's hitting a little close to home, right? When you fall slowly, you can become vulnerable naturally. You don't have to force a sense of vulnerability to now appease this person, because my first relationship when I was 17, right? My first serious relationship, for the first 3 months, it was really hard for me to open up. I did not want to tell her about the real shit that was going on in my life. And I felt like if I had done it anytime beforehand, if I had attached myself to this idea that I had to force vulnerability instead of it naturally coming and occurring, I don't think we would have ended up dating. And honestly, that relationship changed a lot about me and quite literally changed the trajectory of my life. When you allow things to happen naturally over time, you don't force intense emotions, and you can actually have the space that you need to think like a fucking person, right? And in the Bible it says love is patient, love is kind. So patience isn't just about waiting. It's about valuing that process, right? I think we need to make things sacred again. I think we need to have spaces and think about the things that we do and make things sacred again. And here's some signs there's a few signs, right? You might be asking yourself, okay, am I falling in love the right way? You've heard me say this, right? Well, if you're curious but not clingy, right? So if you enjoy learning about them without feeling the need to rush into a set commitment, that's a great sign, right? You also give yourself emotional stability, right? Your happiness isn't solely dependent on their attention. You feel grounded in yourself, right? You're not anxious. You're not so much concerned about where they're going, the things that they're doing, because you're respecting yourself enough to establish that precedent between each other, right? If you respect yourself, other people respect you. It's very simple. But I believe that a lot of times why people are in certain relationships and these individuals are going through a cycle where there's a toxicity between them is probably because the person that's going out and cheating, for instance, is one, not valuing that person, and that's another video I already made. But what's also probably happening, in my opinion, is likelihood that they are not respecting themselves, so this other person is not going to respect you, right? Or respect them in that situation. And I think that allows you to recognize a key thing about all this, right? When it comes to loving slowly, you should prioritize, consistency over intensity, right? If you give yourself the time and space to allow things to flow and happen naturally, you're going to find yourself in a position where the love that you're building is more genuine over time. And I want to leave you guys a few different things, right? So how can you start to fall in love slowly, right? So we've gone through, okay, maybe I'm doing it right, asking the right questions, but how do I now go out and fall in love slowly? Well, I think it's very simple. It can be boiled down to 4 things. You have to be present and not pressured, right? So enjoy each moment without trying to fast forward to a final destination, right? Let things unfold naturally. Number 2, you have to ask real questions, right? Dive deeper. Don't sit there and say, what's your favorite color? You need to understand their values, their ethics, their beliefs, their goals, why they are the way they are, how they handle adversity. If this situation were to happen, would you be able to rely on this person, right? 3rd, you need to keep your identity. This is something that happens all the time that's just pissing me off, especially girls, right? And not to say, but it's true, right? A lot of women I've talked to in my life, what's been their biggest Achilles heel and the reason why I couldn't move forward with them is because the identity that they had was they lost themselves, essentially what I'm trying to say, right? They lost themselves in the process of loving someone else. And because of that put them in a place where they weren't able to follow and pursue their passions, their friendships, and or set certain boundaries. And that's crucial if you want to have a lasting love, right? 4th is you have to trust divine timing, right? It's sometimes slowing down allows God or just life, right, to reveal what you couldn't see during that rush, right? What's meant for you does not require you to lose yourself to get it. See? And if you can think about that sort of structure, like what's meant for you won't require you to lose yourself to get it, then you'll understand if that relationship or that person or the love that you have or the love that you're building is truly meant for you. And I'm gonna leave you guys with a couple final thoughts. And it's simple as this, right? Falling in love slowly isn't about fear, it's about faith, right? Faith that a real connection can be fostered. Faith that real connections aren't rushed. Faith that the real will stand the test of time. Because in the end, slow love isn't less passionate, right? It's just more intentional, like I said. So intention over intensity. That's the most important thing, right? And I just want you guys to go out there and start loving things a little bit different, right? Like slow love is strong love, and strong love is worth the wait. Like everything you're doing, if it's worth having, it will take time, you know? And you have to be able to be okay with that. You have to give life the space to work out for you. And I believe that if you just move forward with this sort of intensity, or not even intensity, with this sort of intention, you'll find yourself like truly finding love, right? Truly finding these places where you can operate and allows you to move forward. So if you guys like this video, please leave a comment, drop a like, you know, share it with a friend or family or whomever, or even your ex. You guys are on good terms. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have a community that might be linked down either in the description or in my bio, so check that out if you're interested. We talk a lot about these kinds of things. I give you guys a lot of resources to go out and use practically in your life. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to just speak my truth, man. I think you should love slowly. Don't rush everything. Sometimes great things just quite literally just take time. So love you guys. Peace.